Omahyanatimanasya Chinansana Sakaya Saksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Nama Chichitayamanobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svamarpagadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiu Shiyuda Padakamalam Shirum Vaishnavam Sha Shirupam Sarajatam Saganarahnatam Vitam Tam Sadivam Sadvaitam Saudutam Parjana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivashakam Vitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Chatpate Gopesha Koprakanta Radhakanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhani Sutta Devi Pranamama Haripriye Vancha Kalptavasha Kripasin Vesha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada Ki Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskatai Desatarini Srila Prabhupada Ki. So today we will continue with the in-depth study of Nectar of Instruction. We were discussing text 3. Utsahan nisayadaya tattat karma pavartanat sangratyara satovite sadbir bhakti pasidati. There are 6 principles favorable to the execution of pure devotional service. 1 is being enthusiastic, 2 endeavoring with confidence, 3 being patient, 4 acting according to the regulative principles such as Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23, hearing, chanting and remembering Krishna. 5 abandoning the association of non-devotees, and 6 following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. And these 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So we were discussing the 4th principle, that acting according to the regulative principles, such as Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmani, Vednam. This is the verse spoken by Prahlad Maharaj from the 7th canto, and we were discussing the purport of that verse by Srila Prabhupada, and last week we were discussing kirtanam, chanting the holy name, and we started last time to discuss the 10 offenses against the holy name. Avoiding these offenses is very important, because if we want to purify our heart, we must give up these offenses, and then anartinivriti, the purification of the heart, will start. Otherwise, not. And if the purification of the heart starts, then what is a symptom? Great taste will come into the chanting. That is a symptom. And that taste will strengthen our faith in turn. So we have been discussing the 3 first offenses, and we will now discuss the 6 last, the 7 last offenses that so the first offense, as we see on the screen here, is to blaspheme the Vedic literature and to blaspheme the Vedic literature and literature compiled in pursuance of the Vedic literature. Now, what does that mean? That just a moment. So this speaks about criticism of scriptures. That criticism of scriptures, which scriptures? The Vedas. Scriptures means here the four Vedas. It means the four Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Puranas. That so the Vedas consist of four parts. First is the Samhita, the text. You have the Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda. You have the hymns, the text, the Samhita. And then the second part of the Veda is the Brahmanas. Brahmanas means here the same text, but with explications how to pronounce it correctly. And then you have the Aranyakas. Aranyakas are guidelines to do fire sacrifices, which are different for each Veda. And then the fourth part are the Upanishads, the transcendental knowledge of each Veda. And then you have the Puranas, the histories, from which the topmost Purana is the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavat Purana. So the Vedas, they emanated from the breathing of Krishna. So they're coming from Krishna. So they constitute perfect knowledge and authority and the final proof in all spiritual matters. So the material, Prabhupada explains that the material senses of a man are characterized by four faults. These faults, they are four kinds. The first is Karnapatra, limited perception. Brahna, illusion, we are in illusion. Vipralipsa, the desire to report something other than what is perceived. Prabhupada calls it the cheating propensity. And pramada, the inattention of the senses, which are imperfect senses. That so these four limitations are not in the Vedas. Because with the material senses, we cannot perceive anything beyond the material level of unconscious matter. Because we cannot approach the spiritual realm without the help of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna gave us the four Vedas, and they are beyond the four folds of the senses. So what are these scriptures talking about? That it emphasizes that karma and jnana are secondary processes and worthless if they are independent of the process of bhakti. Bhakti is the essence. The Vedas stand as authoritative and as an authoritative guide and reference, pranam. So the Vedas, they prove 9 topics. It's interesting to know. First is, there is one Supreme Lord Vishnu. Second is, the Lord is the possessor of all energies. So you have Krishna and his energies. And Krishna is the fountainhead of all rasas. And he has his own dham, Param Dham, described in Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual world. It explains what the jivas, we are part and parcels of the Lord, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. And they are unlimited in number. They are infinitesimal in size, but conscious. So these jivas, they are eternally bound in the material universes because they are attracted by illusory pleasure. Some jivas are eternally liberated and engaged in worshipping Krishna. They reside with him and as his associates in the spiritual sky, they are experiencing prema. So Krishna exists with his energies, the material energy, the jiva energy, the spiritual energy, and so is in a state of simultaneous identity and differentiation, is permeating all, and he remains aloof at the same time. That is only possible by his inconceivable power. It's called Asintya Beda Beda Tattva by Lord Chaitanya. So the process specifically mentions Abhideya. Abhideya for the jiva in the Vedas is ninefold of devotional service. That's what we are discussing. This Abhideya, or the practice of devotional services, is 9 forms of devotional service. In the beginning it's Vaidhi Bhakti, and later it becomes Raga Bhakti, spontaneous. That Vaidhi means rules and regulations. And of the 9 poses, the hearing and chanting are the principal means. We are discussing now the chanting, Kirtanam. So the final goal or constitutional platform of the jivas is the activity of pure bhakti prema. This is attained by the mercy of Krishna. So these are 9 principles explained in the Vedas for the guidance of the jivas. That so if one criticizes the Vedas, that is an offense. We have to be careful because besides the Vedas, there were certain personalities who invented theories, and that's not bona fide. Like Jaimini, he does not recognize the Supreme Lord and recommends that karma kanda activity is independent of worship of God. That's the karma kanda. Yeah. And also by concoction, Kapila, this is not a son of devotee, it's a false Kapila. He thinks that the Lord is imperfect and recommends the process of yoga but they don't understand the goal. The Jains, they take shelter of the philosophy that everything is illusion, and they preach against the Vedas. The atheist Sarvaka has no respect for Vedic knowledge. By hook or crook, enjoy, he says. The Buddhist Gautam does not worship the Lord, but it instead thinks of human beings. And then the philosophy of the Mayavadis is a great distortion of the Vedas. If we believe in these philosophies, it makes one an offender. If the jiva can accept the direct meaning of the Vedas, and that is the path of pure bhakti, he will be awarded prema, love of God. So the principal sound in the Vedas is Om, and that's the name of Krishna. And by chanting the name, one can achieve the goal of life. The Vedas state that the holy name is the spiritual form of the Lord. That is the spiritual form of the Lord in the material world. So the holy name is so powerful that even the faint influence of the name can bring about perfection. Since the Vedas are chanting teaching chanting of the pure name as a principal process to criticize the Vedas is to criticize the holy name of Krishna. So the Vedas are saying, just chant the name of the Lord, and you will receive the highest form of love and bliss. Even in the spiritual sky, the great personalities are chanting the holy name. Mayadevi gives the atheist worldly happiness or punishment according to their activities, but one who serves the devotees gives shelter of Krishna. She gives shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So if one worships Krishna in his name, she helps him to overcome the material ocean. So, what is the remedy if one commits this offense? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, if by misfortune or accident it happens that one commits Shruti Nandan, one should be repentant and offer his respect to the scriptures. With attention, one should offer flowers to the Bhagavatam and the Vedas, being the essence of the Vedas and an incarnation of Krishna. The Bhagavatam will give unlimited mercy. Now, this we can say we discussed these first four offenses, which are, we can say, indirect offenses, but then there are also direct offenses against the holy name. And then we can see here, we go back, we have the next offense, E, says here, to comment that the glories of the holy name of the Lord are exaggerated. So this is the fifth offense, that yes, how to understand that? If one minimizes the effect of the chanting of the name, as mentioned in the Vedas, in the Puranas, one becomes an extreme offender. This is called artavad, against the name. And that this statement concerning the statements according to the power of the holy name are not exaggeration, but they are not exaggerations meant to motivate, but they are the true effects of the holy name. So, as long as we chant with these offenses, the power of the holy name will not manifest to us. But that does not mean that the power is not there, or that the process does not work. No, that it's like when there is no sun, there are clouds, we don't see the sun. Does not mean that the sun does not exist, that the power of the sun is not there. The full power will be there as the clouds of anarthas are removed. So a devotee does not take the name for his own material enjoyment. He does not ask for fruits mentioned in the scriptures. So we chant not for our material protection or for this or for that. We chant to give pleasure to Krishna out of love. That should be our mentality. So if one performs sacrifices prescribed in karma kanda with the desire for material gain, then that is cheating, Prabhupada says. That these are temporary material results. So if one can execute one's activities without interest in material results, then one's heart will become purified. So that is the actual purpose of karma kanda. When one's heart is purified, one's interest and taste for cultivating bhakti begins. Just by namabhas, a reflection of the holy name, one can get all the results obtained by the process of karma and jnana. So namabhas chanting occurs when we give up the anarthas. There are 3 stages in the chanting. This apparaat, we commit offenses, and we are discussing these offenses now. If we overcome them, we come to namabas, the purification of the holy name. The purification of the heart, namabas, anartha nivritti. And then, yes, it said just by chanting namabas, one can get all the results automatically by the process of karma and jnana. We don't have to ask Krishna everything. He will give us. So the Lord and the name are one. The Lord has invested in the name all transcendental energies. So the remedy for committing this offense of interpreting the holy name, this offense is called artavad. One should go humbly before an assembly of Vaishnavas and reveal his offense at their feet, begging for forgiveness. The devotees of the Lord will mercifully forgive him and embrace him. So this is the 5th offense, and also the 6th offense. So we will go back to our text. That moment. I will share the screen again. Here it is. So to interpret the whole name in a deviant way, we discussed this both. That, and now this is the 7th offense. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name. That so that's a serious offense. Because of course the verse we have heard before, that in the 2nd verse of the Upadesamrita, we heard 6 items which are unfavorable to bhakti, and now we are discussing these 6 items favorable to bhakti. Yeah, so this, and because Swami said these 6 principles undoubtedly assure complete success of devotional service. But the root cause of committing sin on the strength of the holy name is ignorance. By the process of bhakti, what happens? The thirst for material stimulation or lust of the senses leaves the heart. And thus one lives satisfied with one's constitutional service to the Lord, because that is our constitutional position. We cannot be satisfied if we don't develop our relationship with Krishna. And the relationship is there. It should be manifest again. It should be uncovered. Therefore, devotee accept everything favorable for the development of bhakti and reject everything unfavorable. He thinks Krishna is my protector, is my maintainer. He gives up all ideas of selfish concept of I and mine. Whoever takes shelter of the name can neither think nor do any sinful activity. Even if someone commits a new sin out of lust, thinking that there will be no bad effect because of the name's power in destroying sins, that person is not a serious devotee, but a cheater. From the offense against the name, he will reap lamentation, fear, and death. That's all. Of course, now Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes 2 types of sin. Unpremeditated and premeditated sin. If one commits sin on the strength of the holy name, there is no remedial measure. Even endless torture by the servant of Yamraj cannot deliver one from the offense. Using the position of an advanced renunciate as a means of enjoying as a householder is a great disturbance to the social order and the universe at large. So when one is at the Namabha stage, one is always in danger of committing this offense. But one who is more advanced and comes to the Sudanam, who has given up all these offenses, and that then the heart is pure. It does not commit its apparat anymore. That those who have taken shelter of the pure name, they always live in association of pure Vaishnavas. And they are very careful to avoid these offenses. They have a mind determined not to move from the thought of Krishna, not even for a moment. But one not in this status should live in fear of offenses, particularly the offense of committing sin on the strength of the holy name. The person should constantly chant the Lord's name, and by the grace of the Guru, we will get our Sambandha Jnana, a knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. And then when we practice that Sambandha Jnana, we get real Krishna Bhakti and the real name of Krishna. So if one commits this offense, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, one should purify himself by the association with pure Vaishnavas. Sinful desires are like themselves thieves on the road, and the pure Vaishnavas are the protectors of the road. So these are, now we come to the 8th offense, that we go back to the purport of the Bhagavatam verse, the verse spoken by Prahlad Maharaj. Are there any questions so far? Otherwise, we continue with the next offense to be avoided. To compare the chanting of the holy name to pious activities. That Prabhupada writes here. That so what does that mean? That when a devotee chants the name, this name is coming from the spiritual level, from Koloka, from a Koloka to the Atma, to the soul, from the Atma to the body. And when he dances on the devotee's tongue, in his mind, he dances then on the devotee's tongue in his mind. If one takes the name with this conception, this understanding is the real name of the Lord with full power. But to take the name as a material object leads to sorrow, suffering. So material pious activities are means by which one may eventually come to bhakti. Then upon receiving bhakti, one will reject the material temporary means and engage solely in bhakti. This will bring about the full bliss of prema, the goal of life. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, the intelligent Shiva can attain perfection by chanting the holy name. It is the means and the end. And that's important. The chanting of the holy name is the process. But when into that process you attain perfection. And what is that perfection? Chanting the holy name in pure love of God. And that's because the holy name is then it is also a means or a method. It is considered by some to be part of the pious activity method with no other potency. In the same way, materialists think that Vishnu, like Brahma and Shiva, can be counted as a material demigod. It's offensive to the name, an obstacle to bhakti. The name is both the means of purification and the end. So in the world we find two means, the secondary or indirect means of purification, such as pious activities, and the principal means, which is the holy name. One should not confuse the two of thinking that they are equal. The happiness derived from chanting is that by chanting the holy name, transcendental bliss will come. The happiness achieved from jnana and yoga is insignificant compared to the bliss of the holy name. At the stage of sadhana, the purificatory stage, the name is the means. But in the pure stage, the name is the end and the highest bliss. It cannot be compared to material pious activities. So by the mercy of the Guru, this knowledge is revealed. If this knowledge is lacking at the stage of sadhana, then one becomes an offender. What is the remedy if one commits this offense? If one commits this offense and desires relief, one should seek good association and purify one's intelligence. Now, the next offense, which is explained here by Prabhupada in the purport, that to instruct the glories of the holy name to a person who has no understanding of the chanting of the holy name. So, what does that mean? That why is it not good to give the name to the unfaithful? That why is it an offense? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna states that confidential knowledge regarding devotional service, including the chanting of his holy names, should never be explained to those who are not austere, devoted, or engaged in service, or those who are envious of him. So if one attempts to give Krishna to others, whether through the holy name or the scriptures, and the recipient is an atheist, they may blaspheme Krishna and commit offenses. And by that they are distancing themselves further from the mercy of Krishna. Therefore, instructing someone who is not receptive to spiritual teachings often yields little benefit. So true benefit can only be attained when the hearer is open and receptive to the message. Receptivity to the spiritual instruction depends on how one is influenced by the modes of nature. Those influenced by the lower modes of passion and ignorance are unable to understand Krishna unless they first surrender to a bona fide spiritual master. So when we preach, it's important to see who is receptive. And we have to preach to them according to their level. Like, who is receptive? Prabhupada went to America. Who was receptive? All these hippies. Because these hippies gave already up the material life from their parents. They didn't. They understood that will not lead to happiness. So they were receptive to hearing about alternatives. Also, those who are a little in the mode of going to the mode of goodness, like they are vegetarian. Vegetarians, they are mostly receptive. Not all, but many of them are receptive. Who is receptive? Those who are going through a life crisis, they may be receptive. That those who are on a change in their lives, in a transit period, they are receptive. So, yeah, and then you have methods to approach them. Of course, we have our standard programs, but we are also using drama, theater, music, kirtan, to attract people. Yes, we see that also book distributors go out. They try to give a book. It's very obvious who is receptive and who not. So yes, but faith in the holy name develops to association with devotees, sadhu sangha. And by hearing the glories of Krishna from the Bhagavatam spoken by pure devotees. So to cultivate faith in the holy name, one must give up false material shelters. And this false material shelters, that's the subject of the next offense. We look here, the next offense. I will share it. That's the last offense. I will go to the offenses today. It's not to awaken in transcendental attachment for the chanting of the holy name, even after hearing all these scriptural injunctions. So what does that mean? It means giving up our false attachment of I and mine. Therefore, if we chant the holy name, we must combine it with hearing regularly Srimad Bhagavatam. And from the Bhagavatam, we learn about the futility of our temporary attachment. And simultaneously, we should culture the right attitudes, inner attitudes, as described in the sixth Shastaka, especially verse 3 and 4. Trina tapitsine tarura visaisne amana manadina kirtania sadari. Nadanam najanam nasundaram kavata vasi sikami mamachamamis shamamishvai bhavta bhakti ahaitukitva. So one should be humble, tolerant, don't ask honor for oneself, give all honor to others. Don't want followers, don't want association with the opposite sex, don't want wealth, just even not wanting liberation, just wanting to serve Krishna out of love. Because the body is destined to fall and turn to ashes. That should not be a source of attachment. By hearing from devotees engaged in Sudha Bhakti, hearing from them will purify the intelligence and strengthen our faith. We know that this is in the Mahabharata. Yamaraj once asked Maharaj Yudhishthira, what is the most wonderful thing within this world? Amrat Yudhishthira replied, Ahan Yahani Bhutani Kachantiya Chamalayam Shesa Stavaramichanti Kim Acharyam Atapara. Hundreds and thousands of living entities meet death at every moment. But a foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing in this world. So they live like they are going to live eternally, and they don't think death is coming. So that's an illusion. By that one remains attached. And this illusion comes from false ego. If one leaves a room and he knows I will never return to this room, are you still concerned what's happening in the room afterwards? Similarly, all the relationships we have in this world will end at the time of death. And that can come every moment. However, if we reawaken our relationship with Krishna, who resides in our heart, that relationship transcends the death of the body and continues eternally. So all the relationship in this world will go. It's all temporary. It's useless. But association with devotees is useful in the sense that we get spiritual benefit by it. But the relationships itself, they will stop. So, and therefore, in Sri Bhajan Rasya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that chanting this third and fourth verse of Shikshastaka before chanting holy name will help us to motivate us, to bring us to cultivate a mood of detachment. And that makes it easier to leave behind the worldly concerns and focus our mind on Radha and Krishna. When we chant, we should give up all other things. That's our time to be Radha, with Radha and Krishna. Of course, there is also the offense of pramada or inattention. One morning in the temple after the Bhagavatam class, one devotee said to another, "You were not in class this morning." The other devotee replied, No, I was there. I was sitting there at the back. Then the other devotee responded, says, "Yes, I saw that your body was there, but your consciousness was somewhere else." So our real self means the soul. Soul is the source of our consciousness. When our attention of consciousness is not in the chanting, then we, the soul, is not chanting, but only the lips chants mechanistically. So the holy name is Krishna. If we do not give attention to the holy name, we are not giving attention to Krishna. Inattention is counted as one of the apparats. Even if one successfully overcomes all other offenses and is chanting continuously, love of God may not come. Where does this inattention come from? Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives three kinds: indifference or inattention, laziness, distraction, which means attraction for other objects. So the first is indifference or apathy towards the name. Not only the common man has attachment to material things. He will be attachment to these things even while chanting. His heart will be absorbed in some material object. So how can we benefit them from the chanting? The solution is that one should take association of Vaishnavas who are properly chanting in some place sheltered from the material influence. So by chanting, in that situation is our absorption in material things will be reduced. And we will be inspired to conduct the Vaishnavas. One will give up that fault. Surely the heart will get attraction for the holy name. And one will be anxious for the nectar of the holy name. The advanced devotees recommend that one live in a place where Krishna is his pastimes, near Tulsi, in company of Vaishnavas, and gradually increase the period of chanting. So that's the first type of inattention caused by indifference or apathy. But the second type is laziness. If one chants with a sluggish mind, or after chanting a little, one must stop before finishing his round, that's called laziness. The remedy for this is to take association of Vaishnavas who do not waste time in material activity, but constantly chant and remember the holy name, being absorbed only in the name. Then we will become taste. We will develop taste, that and enthusiasm will come to the lazy mind. And one will overcome the offense of laziness or inertia. Then one will become determined to increase chanting every day. The third time of inattention is caused by distraction. From distraction, all other kinds of inattention are born. So this fault of inattention resides in attraction for the opposite sex, attraction for material success or victory, desire for position, the cheating propensity. What is the remedy for this? First, follow proper Vaishnava behavior. Then, on Ekadashis, stop thinking of eating and all night and day chant the holy name in the association of devotees. Another remedy is listening to the scriptures of the Lord in association of devotees in a holy dham. So then gradually the bhakti portion of one's mind will increase, the higher taste will come and the lower taste will go. Then the desire for material objects will disappear. So what is the general advice to increase attention? It's also, sometimes we want to chant a number of rounds, 24, 36 or whatever, that one should not focus on the quantity, but first on the quality, and concentrate nicely on what we can manage. And we should pray to the Lord to chant clear, attentive rounds with a mind fixed on Krishna, because on our own we cannot do it. So this is the analysis of the 10 offenses. Oh, that's something else. That's the Nuka, so we don't need today here. Okay. So we have gone through these 10 offenses. Can someone read the next paragraph, which is on the screen? There is no way to atone for any of these offenses.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I will read.
Yeah, please.
There is no way to atone for any of these offenses. It is therefore recommended that an offender at the feet of the holy name continue to chant the holy name 24 hours a day. Constant chanting of the holy name will make one free of offenses, and then he will gradually be elevated to the transcendental platform on which he can chant the pure holy name and thus become a lover of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So that means that if we commit offenses, there's no way to atone for these offenses. The only thing we can do is constantly chant the holy name as much as possible. And after a long time doing like that, the holy name will become merciful. That
Can I ask a question while we're here?
Yes, sure. That's the purpose.
So I haven't been initiated, and I'm trying to be attentive when I'm chanting my rounds. But if I go against these rules, there's no atonement. So as a householder, you see where I'm going with this? I'm trying not to make offenses, but I'm sure I've made offenses. Not that I can think of at this moment, but just in the fact that sometimes I'm inattentive when I'm, like you said, your mind drifts and you start thinking about material things like my job. Am I going to do that? And everything that goes there. So have I committed that offense just because I'm trying to be a good devotee, even not initiated? Or do I have to, or is it like locked in stone? The minute I'm initiated, I have to pay more attention.
Well, we have to do the test. Do I commit offenses of the chanting or not? If I chant and I feel ecstasy, you don't commit offenses. You don't feel the ecstasy, you have an offensive mentality. So that offensive mentality means we have anarthas in the heart, that we are not yet pure, and we have to work on it. And we are all in that situation, that
Okay.
we make these offenses. But by hearing these 10 offenses, we start to understand the root that we understand the root behind the offenses, why we have this offensive mentality. And secondly, we understand what to do to come out of it. And that's the purpose of discussing these 10 offenses. But it's a process. It's a process of taking shelter of Krishna and become humble, and crying like a small baby for the mother, crying for help. That should be our mood. That together with this knowledge, we will be able to healthy make offenses, healthy give them up. It doesn't that because what to do when we commit these offenses? That's explained in the next paragraph. Maybe someone can read the next paragraph. It is recommended.
Yes,
Thank you.
it is recommended that even if one commits offenses, one should continue chanting the holy name. In other words, the chanting of the holy name makes one offenseless. In the book Nama Komadi, it is recommended that if one is an offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnav, he should submit to that Vaishnav and be excused. Similarly, if one is an offender in chanting the holy name, he should submit to the holy name and thus be freed from his offenses. In this connection, there is the following statement spoken by Daksha to Lord Shiva. I did not know the glories of your personality, and therefore I committed an offense at your lotus feet in the open assembly. You are so kind, however, that you did not accept my offense. Instead, when I was falling down because of accusing you, you saved me by your merciful glance. You are most great. Kindly excuse me and be satisfied with your own exalted qualities.
Mhm. Thank you. So that gives a clue what to do. That yes. So one should be very humble and meek to offer one's desires and chant prayers composed in glorification of the holy name, such as Ai Mukta Kuler Upasyamanam Namastakavan and Nirvita Tarsera. One should chant such prayers to become free from offenses at the lotus feet of the holy name. And here we have, It's one of these prayers. This is a verse here from. It's a prayer. It's a verse spoken by Maharaj Pariksit to Sukadev Goswami. It says, Nirvita Tarser Upakiyam Yamanat, Bhavas Dakshotra Mano Biramat, Gautamas Loko Nanu Vadat, Pumam Vyacheta Vina Pasuchnat. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of God is performed in the Parampara system that is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Description of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? So this is what Sukadev Goswami, what Maharaj Pariksit said, Nivritar Ser. Are we free from lust? That by taking the medicine of hearing about Krishna. So that is a good question, that we are chanting the holy name. That's our medicine, but we have to take it together with another medicine. It's hearing about Krishna, hearing the Bhagavatam. That and it's the same thing. If we are hearing the Bhagavatam and we don't have taste for the Bhagavatam, it's because of our offensive mentality also. But hearing the Bhagavatam is very helpful to come in that right mood to give up the offenses. Therefore, we pray always before we hear the Bhagavatam. Nasve Zabhatra Sunnityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavata Tamaske Bhakti Bhavati Naistki. By regular attendance of the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the spiritual master, all what is troublesome to the heart is nearly completely destroyed. So regularly hearing the Bhagavatam in combination with chanting, because this Bhagavatam hearing removes our misconceptions and our ignorance, and that ignorance is the basis of our offenses. That's so far. So next time we'll continue with Smaranam, remembering the Lord. Any further question on Kirtanam? Kirtanam?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes.
Quick question. Thank you for your class and thank you for your association. So from that purport, it says that we should, so we should seriously endeavor always to be chanting as much as we can, because most of us, we chant when we do japa, we chant kirtan in the temple. Should we endeavor to chant while we're doing other mundane things?
No, the first thing we should endeavor for is improve the quality of our chanting. Focus on the quality. That I remember Indradyumna Maharaj saying, yes, chanting 16 rounds takes me 3 hours because I want to hear every holy name very clearly. So I'm chanting slow to hear them very clearly. That So quality is more important. If once you have quality, you can chant more. But try to chant your 16 rounds with quality. It's important, with attention and low and very clearly hearing that chanting while we do other things. Yeah, when a japa walk is okay, but don't chant when you drive. So someone asked Prahlad Nanamaraj that is it okay if I chant when I drive? And Prahlad Nanamaraj said, if you chant while driving, if you chant with attention or the holy name, you are a danger on the road. And when you are giving your attention to the road, your chanting is offensive. So best not to do that while at the steer wheel. Of course, when you are in the car sitting, you can chant. But these are important considerations. First, quality, then quantity. Then we can increase that. Otherwise, it's like a mouse running in a wheel. It's running very fast in the wheel, but it doesn't move. No progress. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Then we will see each other next week for the Bhagavatam class, Nectar Instruction class on Wednesday. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Krishna.